So any FOMC pumps at the moment are looking like short opportunities and very similar with any sell-offs. This is the daily entry. I'm bringing you day trading setups on NAS, Dow, gold, oil, and of course, BTC. Let's go. Now, yesterday was quite a choppy day for me in the beginning. Started off really nicely, got a couple of scalps going. Then I had a horrible period in the middle. That first Dow zone that I gave you guys actually took a couple of stops there. You can see I got a little bit of abuse, but we did well on oil. And then I caught the back end of that next oil pump and I caught the second zone on the Dow short. So it ended up quite nice by the end of everything. And I'm nearly 200% up now on this account that I started on Thursday. Okay, so things are going nicely. We're just playing these levels really consistently. And guys, remember, today is the big day. This is where our TradFi Bootcamp starts. It's kicking off in the next couple of hours. Our first session is the live YouTube session that you are going to see on the Chart Hackers YouTube. We are trading that live at 2, and then all challenge participants exclusively for you, we are going into a private Zoom session where you're going to meet myself, some of the team, and we're going to talk about strategy and hopefully trade live and catch some of the setups you are watching on this very video right now. And we are doing it in partnership with Prime XBT. And if you are already on Prime XBT, links linked to any of my shows or in the Chart Hackers Discord, you can still enter the challenge. Just make sure you contact support there and send them your UID for Prime XBT and they will sort you out. Okay, guys, let's get into the big one for me. Well, there were a couple of bangers, but oil was a little bit of a banger here yesterday, and I spoke about this up some lower length levels. Now, in terms of longs for oil, what makes sense to me? Well, the first zone has to be 80, and this is the WTI chart. Look at that bullish order block. Look at this local VWAP coming up here. Look at these horizontals. So I would say in terms of the first engagement zone, we're looking at 80 for oil. This is WTI on the TVC chart that we are looking at. So look for that long on oil. That bounce on oil could be the short opportunity for the Dow and the NAS. Look out. If oil starts screaming back up to close this gap, things are going to get interesting. If oil drops a little bit further, I'm pretty confident today that we're going to get a long down at 77 or 78. Okay, 78 is going to be. So 78 was the big one for oil. We got an initial tease from the guys on oil. They gave us a small little bounce and then they came down and hit that 78, and that was the rocket ship. That was the money maker yesterday. But look how beautifully these daily entry levels are getting respected. Look at that nice bounce. So what is the plan now? What do we do with oil? Well, you can see oil's cooking at the moment, and in terms of oil, I'm not aggressively looking for an oil trade today. I think the oil trade was yesterday. That was the big banger. But in terms of what I think could happen here at the moment, if there is more strength in oil, we do have a gap issue in this type of region here. So if there is strength in oil, I think the simple playbook here is close this gap, either 87.6 or they can extend this thing. Look at this 100-day moving average at around 90. So that is where I expect, if oil is pumping and these other markets are collapsing a little bit, that is where I would expect the next big bounce in the markets. Now, in terms of the converse, what we can look at here, potential longs I would look at if we drop back into the zone. I'm not interested in higher lows. I'm not interested in anything like that on oil. I want to see this wick get taken out and then possibly engage on a long on oil. Other than that, I'm not trading oil today. We'll wait and see how things play out. Let's talk about the NAS. I've covered this in detail. Is looking like a little bit rough at the moment. I do think at some point we are coming down to that 26, and it means we are in a potential downtrend and we can be hunting shorts along the way down. So what does that mean for us right now? Well, FOMC pump could be very interesting here for us. I've got two short zones on the NAS at the moment that make sense to me. Number one is going to be a sweep of these highs, 28,050. Looking for a short in that area. You can get away with a relatively tight stop. Look at that wick sitting up there. So 28,050 on this capital.com US100 charts. Then there's nothing here for me. Not interested in this zone until we hit 28,530. That looks like the banger as well in that type of region. So shorts, FOMC pump, that's where I'm looking for shorts today. We'll hopefully catch them live on our live session later on. And then longs, guys, tentative longs. There's a decent zone here, 27,420, and then I've got a banger here, 27,250. Those are the long zones. Remember, all these charts that you see on the daily entry, they go into the Chart Hackers Discord. I've got a separate TradFi section. I'm going to drop the charts there after this video, and you will see any updates during the course of the day, any changes, any trades I make. Like yesterday, for example, I told the guys I was taking that Dow short. It is all in the Chart Hackers Discord. So if you want that extra Alpha, make sure you are in the Chart Hackers Discord. Now, in terms of the Dow, what is cooking here at the moment? So we nailed that short yesterday. It was this move over here. And what has this meant now? It means we created new levels that we can now play with. So in terms of taking care of previous wicks and things like that, we did that really nicely yesterday on the Dow. And now that zone is used up. So my eyes are now cast onto the 786 and this wick region that you see at the top of your charts. This is of high interest to me at the moment. So in terms of looking for shorts here, initial Dow pump, 52,950. Look for a sweep of that zone and then a little rejection. Difficult to say how big this rejection would be considering we do have FOMC. And a little note here, guys, if this oscillator starts reversing and is still looking super bullish, in terms of risk, if this thing is super bullish and you are hitting this level here, in terms of risk, yes, you can get the short. Of course, what I suggest is just go slightly smaller size here because that oscillator might be indicating that they want to break out to the next level. So 52,950 looks good. And then for me, the next short is going to be the all-time highs. We have to test that. So it's 53,310, sweep of that area. I think there's going to be a lot of action up there. I think there's going to be a lot of shorts up there. So could definitely get spicy in that region. Where are we looking for longs? DGen longs, medium conviction, 52,440 looks okay. Higher conviction, 52,230 and 52,70. 52,70 looks pretty good for me on the Dow. Let's talk about gold. Super frustrating, guys. I mean, look at these bounces we're getting on gold and they're missing my order by about $8. I had an order at 4,002 for gold. So in terms of what we're looking at here, yes, I think it's still valid. I am a little bit concerned that this liquidity is getting eaten here for gold. We're looking for rocket fuel, but I do have my order waiting, 4,002. Where can you put your stops? Under 3995, alternatively under 3977, alternatively you're waiting lower, and there's a long on gold at roughly 3,950 looking interesting to me. Still not looking for a short on gold. I want to see a nice bounce off one of these two zones that you see in front of you. Now, in terms of yesterday, I've still got some bangers running here on BTC. You can see here's my existing BTC short, and it's just actually started to turn. Where are we now? Oh, yes, yeah. Okay, so the short is still good, and that is sitting at 65.5. I've got the long. I top longed that on the Chart Hackers live session that we did yesterday. So if you caught the live trading, you would have seen we got involved in that. And ETH is starting to deliver again, but it's pretty rangy and choppy. So we'll cover some of this in the live trading that we're doing on the Chart Hackers YouTube within the next hour of you watching this video. So make sure you are watching Chart Hackers. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, the short play for me, I've got a very simple game plan here at the moment. Now, we're keeping it simple. This is the 1 hour time frame that we are looking at for BTC. This orange line is my current short entry, and I will be adding in this region to the short. Okay, so that yellow zone you can see over there, 65.5, that is my entry. I am looking for a push now into this region on BTC and then a nice rejection. If this area fails, the next reasonable short zone, 66,150, give or take into 66,250, that looks reasonable for me for a potential rejection. And if these guys are going to come and take out all this liquidity now today on reasonable FOMC or some good news, I think that 382 fib is going to get taken out. They're going to sweep these highs and we're going to get a beautiful short there, 67 into 68k. That is higher up. We will deal with it when we need to. Okay, so guys, that is your daily entry for today. Play safe out there, manage your risk, keep it tight. FOMC, it's going to be super choppy. There's going to be volatility, and of course we got earnings, Meta and Microsoft today, so tons happening out there. Catch you guys later.